And now, Giant Sports Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Eric and Glenn.
We're talking Giants every day. From McCovey Cove to the Oracle Park lights, Eric and Glenn keep the fire burning bright, fighting for the glory, no matter what it costs us, breaking down the moments from the wins to the losses. Giant Sports Talk, we're here for the ride. Eric and Glenn with the fan base pride, talking dreams, will they contend? But we'll back the Giants till the very end. Let's go, Giants! Yes! 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 Oh! Eric and Glenn breaking it down, all Giants all the time.
All right, welcome to Giant Sports Talk Live. What do you got?
You know why nobody else is breaking it down? Because they don't want to.
Yeah,
We're breaking it down because nobody else is crazy enough to spend any time trying to break down this crap, Eric.
Yeah,
What the hell happened tonight?
Well, it happens. It happens. To be honest with you, I mean, how many? Wow, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? It is what it is. I'm not going to even try. Anyways, hey guys, welcome to Giant Sports Talk Live. Postgame, game 3, Giants lose pretty big. Pretty big. They lose 8-1 in the third game of the series. But before we get into the breaking down of the game, we have a special guest that is joining the show today. His name is Jalal Leach. Guy was a former San Francisco Giants player and a former MLB scout. We're going to have him come on, talk a little bit about himself and some of the ventures that he is doing as we speak. So without further ado, let's bring in – hey, hold on. Where is our thing here? We got a thing here.
Yeah,
Here we
we're
go.
going to do this, Eric. We better do this right.
Let's do it right here. Here we go.
And now, another special guest appearance on Giant Sports Talk Live.
All right, here we go. Jalal, welcome to the show. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Right on. Hey, first and foremost, let's talk about a little bit about your background, what you're up to, and just kind of just give us a synopsis of who you are.
For me, I was born in San Francisco. So I was just talking to, I went to the game on Sunday and I was talking to one of the ushers about San Francisco natives that actually play for the Giants. We're having that discussion. So I don't think there's been anyone who is actually born in the city since me, to my knowledge, to play for the Giants. So I was born at Kaiser Hospital on 5th and Geary. You know, my dad was a police officer for SFPD for many years. But I mainly grew up out in Marin in Novato. So that's where I honed my skills in Novato, and then went to college at Pepperdine, drafted by the Yankees out of Pepperdine. And then the journey towards the big leagues began, and spent 12 years in the minors before I actually got to the Giants and broke in 2001, which was the year Barry broke the single season home run record.
Hey, how about that? And today, now you're helping young folks, right, with their baseball skills, with your Leach elite training.
Yeah, I've had a baseball school on and off since my brother and I. We started back in 2004. Our program up here, we had a facility up here in Sacramento called Baseball Mentoring Program. We had it from 04 to 19. We trained goobs and gobs of kids with last count, 14 of the kids have made it to the big leagues. A lot have played in college, both baseball and softball. And then last year when I lost my scouting job, I'd always been doing lessons or training on the side. I kind of went back into it and I recreated Leach Elite training. And I do it mobile. So I'm from Sacramento to Tracy to the Bay Area, training kids, mainly on batting because I feel like hitting it's the hardest thing to do. You don't hit, you don't play. So unless you're a pitcher. So I always tell people, yeah, defense is cool, but at the end of the day, it's an offensive game. So I've been doing that since November, and it's been a lot of fun. And I have all skill levels from beginners as young as I want to say 6 or 7, all the way up to guys who are in pro ball.
Wow.
Trying to, figure out what they need to do. So it's mechanical, it's adjustments. I'm a therapist, all of the above.
Oh, right. And that's fantastic because that just kind of alludes to the first question here is from the time that you were in the big leagues, right? Compared to how baseball is being played today. Back in the day, I should say, there was a concentration on like contact, right? Don't get me wrong, you want to hit the home run, but there was more of a focus on getting to contact. It seems in today's baseball, people are just swinging out of their shoes, right? Could you speak to that? Is that what you're seeing with the young kids as well as it's coming up? Is there a different approach in how hitting is being taught today, both for the little kids and for the big guys?
Analytics is coming to the game, and it has its place. I always think analytics has always been there. And I know, I've talked to some people in the analytical space, and they say, if the hitter, goes up there and looks to get the ball in the air to pull side, their success rate is greater by pulling the ball in the air. And I'm like, that's great. That's fine and dandy. But there are pitchers who know how to keep the ball away from you. So, trying to get them to understand that, yes, they may have a higher success rate of pulling the ball in the air to the pull side. There are guys who do know how to pitch that are just going to keep the ball just far enough away from you where you won't be able to get that ball in the air, and you're going to, in essence, hit more ground balls. So for me, I was taught it's like walking. You got to learn to crawl before you walk. So the young kids, and that's the way I teach it, is you got to learn to hit before the power. The power is the last thing to come. So hitters need to learn how to hit and make consistent contact because, I've been around the game for 30 years and guys who've done a lot. And I know there's certain times in certain situations where the manager or the team or the fans, they just need you to put the ball in play. They don't need the home run. So hitters need to understand that, what the situation is and how it's dictated and how they need to approach each and every at bat. So I see it like, I don't know if it's called a correction, but I just feel like the game's going to go back to more of contact rather than the 3 true outcome guys who are just lift, separate. Because in the playoffs, we don't care about your stats. We're trying to win tonight. You see the bunt comes out, the steal, the hit and run, because everyone's playing for today. Because we're trying to win that game, advance to the next round, hopefully advance to the World Series and win the thing. So, I just feel like the game needs to just go back to playing the game and keeping the objective simple and not playing so much of the analytical, or as I call it, casino baseball, where they think of the odds of the game, and the odds are, he can do this. So that's just my 2 cents on it. Analytics helps, but it's still a game played by humans that have human feelings and emotions and good days, bad days. My back is tight. I feel good, all these variables. So you have to remember that they're just human beings playing a game. And sometimes you might have to give yourself up and move the runner over just to help the team win.
I love that. And Glenn, I'll let you take the next one because you're kind of speaking my language here because they're human. They're not robots, right? They're not robots going up to the plate and taking their hacks. They're humans, and you gotta treat them as such. You said it perfectly, right? You don't know. For example, when a manager is making out a lineup card, he's gonna know, are guys feeling it, not feeling it, because again, that's just stuff doesn't translate on the back of a baseball card, and you got to take that into consideration, and also their tendencies on how they approach the game. But I love how you're talking about that, because Buster Posey, in his last draft, kind of to relay it to the Giants, he went out there and drafted a lot of high contact, low strikeout guys, and you're kind of talking about how they're kind of you got to have those guys. You don't want the all guts and no glory type of player 1 through 9. You got to have guys out there that are going to be able to make that contact, get on base, so that you could be able to score those runs. So I love that. Again, that's just more of a comment. Glenn, what you got?
Hey, I was first of all, appreciate it's always a treat when we get guests. So thank you for coming on with us.
No worries.
I was able to do some homework today, Eric, because when I pull out, one of the 10,000 monster boxes I've got hidden around the house, driving Bernice crazy, I'm able to dip in and find,
Look at that.
I'm able to find things like that under the couch here in a box. So I was able to dig out some stuff. I was like, wow, that's great. Just to touch on what Eric was talking about, we continually talk about it on our show, and it frustrates the heck out of us. When this season started, you're probably well aware the Giants, they came out flying. In fact, their preseason, I mean, I can't remember a preseason for the Giants quite as memorable as what we had this year. And it carried over. And we were excited because watching the Giants play game in, game out, they were doing all those, what Eric and I refer to basically as those little things that he just touched on. Not the home run long ball, but getting guys on, getting them over, getting them in. They were going first to third. We were excited about that. We saw it so prevalent in the 80s, early 90s, the guys who could run. And now, I mean, other than Tampa, I just don't see the run game in baseball as much as it was. Do you think that'll come back? Do you think this is a kind of a transition we're in where, what goes around will come around? Or do you think the game's just changing and it's not part of the game anymore?
I mean, the game is played by humans, and the object isn't really that hard. I mean, it's really to touch home plate more than the opposing team. And then on defense, you want to prevent that. So I'm still of the mindset, the top of the order, the first batter, the second batter, are table setters. You need guys who can get on base at a high clip. Hopefully, if not both of them, one of them can steal a base. And then the 3-hole guy needs to be your guy that you pretty much write in that lineup every day. He is a threat every day. Whether it's hitting for average or hitting for power, he is that guy that every day so-and-so is hitting third for us. And the fourth guy is the guy with a little more power, fifth, sixth, and then you get to the bottom of the order. Maybe those guys, they're tools that keep them in the lineup. Maybe it's defense or, they have some outlier tool that keeps them in the lineup. But I just feel like the top of the order, the guys who you want to bat the most is the guys who you believe will be on base the most. And then the guy who can hit with runners on base should be in the middle of the lineup, and so on and so forth. So, I know we tried a few years back. I think some teams still might be doing it, is they're putting their better hitter or their best hitter in the 2 hole. And I get it analytically, but again, I played the game, and when you look at the opposing team lineup, or when I played for the Giants and number 25 was hitting third, everyone knew when he was coming up at what point in the game. It wasn't to get him an extra turn throughout the game. It was the lineup has a reason for him hitting third and Jeff Kent hitting fourth, or so on and so forth. So I think we just need to get back to just playing the game the way it's best to be played and getting some guys at the top that are high on base guys, your go-to guy hitting in that 3-hole, and the 4th and 5th guys, they can hit with runners on, which I think, in this analytical era, they don't value RBIs. And I laugh. They don't value batting average. I'm like, there's some guys that can hit with runners on better than others. They may not have strong numbers, but when there's runners on, they go to work. And I mean, you got to score runs. So hitting with runners in scoring position is huge. And, I haven't paid much attention to the Giants this year, but the little I have, they've had problems with that, is hitting with runners in scoring position. So to me, seeing a guy that is clutch, a guy that can hit when the pitcher's in the stretch, that guy, I would always think I want him in the game.
How frustrating is it for a guy when he comes up and makes the lineup? And this has been a point of contention for me for the last couple of years. And I think you as well, Eric, most nights. This San Francisco Giant team, you never know. Even the players, they come in, they got to run to the locker room and look on the wall and see where they're batting in the lineup. Oh, today I'm batting 8th. Yeah, yesterday I was leadoff. Do you think a player needs consistency on a daily basis to be successful? And that's something else I find the Giants do just way too much. There's no stability to the lineup. They're all over the place. And I keep going back to, this is a sad story, but a couple of years ago, you know how outspoken I've been, Eric, that Wilmer Flores hit like 4 home runs in 3 games, and then he didn't play. I'm like, don't you go with the hot hand and give the guy his spot in the lineup? Because I just feel when you get a guy who's batting 9th and he goes 3 for 4 and, today he's batting cleanup, you're just chasing your tail.
Oh, did we lose him? Oh, there he is.
Okay,
he's back. I thought I pissed him off.
No, I heard you, Glenn. No,
okay.
You're right. I mean, it's the lineup being one, knowing if you're going to be in the lineup, whether you went 4 for 4, 0 for 4, when you earn that status is huge. Knowing where you're going to be in the lineup on a day in and day out basis is huge. It's just like I hear people say, anyone can pitch the 9th inning. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes, because the heartbeat, the game is on the line. You're either going to close it for us or you're going to give it up for us. And, just playing with guys like Rob Nen and Mariano Rivera, they had the stomach for the 9th inning. There's guys with great stuff. Don't get it twisted. But you got to have Sergio Romo. You got to have, I can't use the word I want to use or phrase I want to use, but they have the mental, the makeup to pitch that inning. Because if the game is a 1-run game or 2-run game and the manager says you're in to close it, that's what they know they're in there for. Not this guy, has great stuff. This guy has spin rate. He has a nasty slider. That's great, fine and dandy, and we need it. But it's really going to come to here, the heart, and up here. Because the closer mentality is either I'm going to get it done or I'm going to give it up. And so
that's perfect, Joel, because it kind of tails into what you were talking about when guys are coming at the bat with runners in scoring position. Right? Because now you gotta your mental space is a little bit different. Because now do you still keep your same approach if no one was on base, or are you gonna change it up so you know that guy's gonna be able to score? Talk to us, because you mentioned it where you're a little bit of a psychologist. Tell us how difficult it is mentally to play this game of baseball and what it takes. You can have all the God-given talents that you want. Is teaching the mental aspect or the IQ, the instincts, is that something that can be teachable, or is that something that is just within the player themselves?
That's a tough one. I play with Jeter, and Derek, I'm just using him versus A-Rod. I mean, if they're both standing there and you're picking a team based upon talent and ability, you probably go to A-Rod every time. I mean, all the time. But the clutch, Derek was clutch. So it's like if I need a guy to come through with the game, and I'm sure Alex did it as well, but if I need a guy to come through with the game on the line or runner in scoring position, well, that was Derek Jeter 101. He was always in the right place at the right time. And is that something you can be taught? I don't know, but you kind of have to. I feel like from a scouting standpoint, you have to go back and watch these players as amateurs or in the lower levels of the minor leagues, and you got to see, what do they do with runners in scoring position. I don't know Tony La Russa, but I talked to someone who knew him well, and he said one of the things that when he was evaluating players as they were ascending was when they got a hit with runners in scoring position, he put like a little X by that at bat. So it was telling them if they're clutch or not. Because to me, it's easy just to evaluate, oh, this guy's hitting 320 with 20 pumps. He's got to be good, so he's a prospect. But in reality, is he getting his hits when the game is decided and over? Now we're seeing so many position players pitch, but these are stats. Guys are getting hits off the position players and not the pitchers when we need them to get them. So to me, you can't just always live and hang your hat on, well, he's hitting 300, because the better player might be the guy hitting 250 because he's clutch. He knows when the runners are on base in scoring position, he goes to work, and that's when he delivers. And I feel like during the Giants championship years, they pitched, they played defense, and they got timely hitting.
Yep.
That was it.
Real quick, Robbie DeVille, also known as Robbie Dizzle. You might know him. The guy's a man about town. This guy is all over the place. I went and watched because he helps out the West Valley Vikings, and I went to a couple of games. This JUCO baseball is kind of fun. I like watching that stuff. And he's a great listener, so he wanted to say hi, make sure he got his highs in there.
Everywhere we go, if his name just randomly comes up and comes out of your mouth, somebody will turn to you and go, "Oh, you know Robbie?" It's like everybody knows this guy. He's great too, by the way. He's great.
Yeah, he is.
What is it about a guy in the minor league system? And we got so many in San Francisco who've come up, and Farhan kind of abused the system by bringing them up, sending them down, bring them up, send them down. There were yo-yo effect there. But what is it about pitching between major leagues and minor leagues, and how a player like, let's say, I'll use Luciano because he's been hot lately, and the guy can smack 18 solid home runs, and then you bring him up, and boy, he can't hit his weight. What is it about a guy who can just he can star at that level, and then he just doesn't have it at the major league level?
Well, it can be a variety of things. It could be opportunity. In the minor leagues, you're playing every day. You know you're going to be in the lineup in such spot in the lineup, and then you go to the big leagues, they drop you into a platoon role. And then they could also have you on you don't know if you're going to be in there every day. That weighs on a player. Mentally coming in there, you said it earlier, coming in there and going, am I in the lineup today? And then it's like you're gambling. You come in, you look at the board. Okay, I'm in the lineup. All right, now I got to get 10 hits and 5 at bats because I want to stay in the lineup. Whereas, and I'm going to the extreme. Whereas a guy like Barry Bonds, he knew he was in the lineup, whether he was 4 for 4. Well, he didn't go 0 for 4 too many times. But the mindset is it's easier to play when you can relax and you're in the lineup on a daily basis. So with Luciano, with him up and down, he probably, if he comes up this year, he may think, okay, I gotta produce and perform. I've got to get 4 hits and 1 at bat to prove these people that I'm worthy of sticking here. Rather than when he's in the minors, he knows he's going to be in the lineup every day. That's one thing. And then the other thing is the fourth deck. I come across plenty of guys, they can perform in the minor leagues, and then they go to the stadium on the big stage, the bright lights, and it's like all of a sudden it's like everything is scrutinized. The pressure intensity goes way up night in, night out. And some dudes just can't handle playing on that stage and a night in, night out. Thus, this is why you need scouts. Because a scout like myself sit in these minor league ballparks and you learn the makeup of the players. And just to fast forward it, me being a hitting instructor now, I tell the parents, the kids, once I figure out your kids' mechanics, because drills are drills. I see a million guys teaching kids drills that they could learn off of YouTube. But the difference is the approach and learning the heartbeat of the kid. So I talk to guys like Kevin Jordan, who teaches, a good friend of mine. When I was in Vegas a few weeks back, I'm drawing a blank on his name. He went to Sarah. Greg Jeffries. Greg Jeffries. I talked to him. And the difference when we're teaching the kids is we tell them we know what it feels like to be 0 for 4, 4 for 4, in the lineup, out of the lineup. Panic, fear, aggressiveness. And so to me, that's the separate. And I even had one of the dads of one of the kids I train. He goes, I've watched you work with my son. And he goes, your drills are pretty basic, tee, front toss, flips. He goes, but it's the things you say to him. He goes, he gets in the car after the lesson is over, and it's like you make him feel like he can run through a wall. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, because you got to have confidence when you get in that batter's box. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to believe in you. And that pitcher sure isn't going to show you any mercy. So I feel like the fourth deck and the scouts evaluating kids, high school, college, lower levels, minor league, double A. It is so important that you learn their makeup. Yeah, tools are important and they're big and great, but what is this cat gonna do when we bring him to Oracle Park? How does he react in a pressure situation? Is he gonna play, or is he gonna just say, this is too much for me? And then it's be like, well, he's hitting 350 in AAA, comes up here, he's nervous all the time. That is where scouting will separate you from all the other teams, because everyone has the same numbers.
Right, there you go. Because everyone, as you said, are putting up numbers, but do you have that mental fortitude? Because that jump, you said it perfectly, from AAA to the major leagues, you're going to these cathedrals now, right? As you're saying, you got fans surrounding you, big lights, huge scoreboards. And if for some reason, you get stage fright maybe, or whatever it may be, the fear, it starts overriding your ability. And then, you know what? Some people can adapt and some can't. Let's get into this because I know you don't want to stay on that very long here. Let's see. There you go. The Jalal home legend from Novato. There you go.
That's crazy.
There you go. One Hit Wonder Podcast. Tell us how you came up with the name and what you do there on YouTube.
Oh, I'm just basically, I don't even know who told me to do it. Oh, it's my web guy. He told me to do it because he's a huge baseball fan. And whenever we get on the phone, I start telling him stories. And he would be like, you got 1 million stories. He goes, you need to do a podcast. And I was like, well, what is a podcast? I'm like, do I need all this fancy equipment? He goes, just use your iPad. Just jot down whatever topics you want to, talk about, and keep it, 20 to 30 minutes. And so, whatever pops into my head, most of it is from me training my kids and what I hear the parents. I'll try to wrap it around, and then I tell stories during that. But it's just, I just try to talk about the steps of baseball from I played Little League. I played in middle school. I played in high school. I played in college. I played in the minors. I played overseas, and I was fortunate to get to the big leagues. So wherever your kid wants to go, I pretty much have put my cleats in that space So it's like I'm just trying to tell them, even when the kids are young, that, this is kind of how I went through it with my parents. And, basically my mom, they just kept it fun. I never felt pressured or stressed as a youth playing ball or any sport for that matter, because the way we were, my brother and I, the way we were just taught was just, this is extracurricular activity. It wasn't mandatory. It wasn't life or death. So we had fun.
Awesome. And how did you come up with the name One Hit Wonder?
Oh, because I got one hit in the big leagues.
There you go. There it is. That is perfect, man. That is perfect. He's got one hit in the majors. And then, that's perfect. That is perfect. We got Mark. He's a huge Mets fan, lives back east. Great. He's a great supporter of the channel. He says, wow, Greg Jeffries, haven't heard that name in years. He was the next big thing with the Mets in the late 80s. I remember collecting his baseball card. He was like the guy. You got to go collect Greg Jeffries. This is in the late 80s, early 90s. Everybody, Greg Jeffries, King Griffey Jr., Gary Sheffield. Those are all the big guys. You had to go get their card, man. So yeah, there you go. Mark, if you go check out his the One Hit Wonder podcast number 7. As a matter of fact, I think it's titled Greg Jeffries. Yeah. You talk about the one and only Greg Jeffries. So there you go. And then of course you got your website and it's in the description. So if anyone's interested as far as wanting to learn how to hit, if you got some kids that need some some training maybe, and you're like pretty much all the Central Valley into the Bay Area.
Yeah. And it's not kids. I have trained adults that want to play fantasy league that are playing in the men's league.
Oh, wow.
I don't discriminate. Baseball, softball.
Oh, nice.
Last week in my hitting class, I do up at a facility up in Auburn. The dads, I don't even know how we got onto it, but 3 of the dads jumped in. They wanted to know their exit velo. So one dad jumped in and started hitting. And then the other 2 dads, they jumped in. So I was like, okay, this is supposed to be for your kids, but they jumped in. So to me, I'm just all about baseball and hitting. So anyone is welcome that wants to improve their game.
Awesome.
All skill levels, ages, it's all good with me. I don't, I just like seeing people hit the ball.
There you go.
Hey, go ahead.
No. Oh, I was just going to ask. You said you got a chance to play with one Barry Lamar Bonds. You have any good stories about Bonds and your time with the Giants?
Oh, geez. Let me think of one. I could one in spring. This happened in spring training. I think it was 2001 where there was a guy pitching. We were playing the Rockies at Scottsdale Stadium, and Bobby Jones, a left-hander, he pitched in the big leagues. He bounced around, a lefty with a good arm. I think Bobby is managing in the Atlantic League or somewhere. He's still in the game in some capacity, but I had faced him a lot in the minors, and he liked his fastball, and he was real aggressive, yada yada yada. And I came up in one inning in spring training, and Barry was out of the game, and he saw I was coming up, and it was left on left, and he's like, Leachy, he's gonna throw you sliders. He's not gonna show you the heater. And I looked at him, I'm like, man, I was like, this guy been in the minors a lot, and I faced him a lot. And I said, Bobby is gonna challenge me. I know he's aggressive and he wants to throw his heater. I know he's going to come at me with that fastball. And long and short of it, I went up and he just slider. And I ended up nubbing 1 to 3rd, grounding out. And I come back in the dugout. I mean, you know how intimate and close it is in Scottsdale State. And Barry's like at the end of the dugout looking at me. He's like, what'd I tell you he's going to throw? I said, you said he's going to throw a slider. I said, well, I thought you were wrong. He goes, but I tell you something. You just do it. Don't question me because I know. And I was like, I hear you. So it's just, the bannering. And to me, I got along. I know he can be polarizing. But for me, I got along really well with him because his dad loved me. I mean, because I was a journeyman in the minors, released, brought back, released, brought back. And, I performed. So you can't release a guy hitting 300. It just, so it was like, Bobby would be like, man, they want to get rid of you, but you keep hitting. So they keep you. So, when I got to the big leagues, he was just really jazzed. And then when I got to San Francisco, Barry's like, he just straight up told me, he goes, my dad likes you, so I got to like you. So you guys ain't getting up here. And so, it's always, for me, it's always been cool with him over the years. But he is by far, bar none, the smartest, best baseball player I have ever seen, played with in my lifetime. I don't know about Willie and Babe and Mickey and all them, but I know in my lifetime, I've never seen anyone play the game of baseball like that man. He's a savant. He knows all the positions. He knows everyone and what their strong suit, their weaknesses. He could literally have managed a team from left field. I mean, he could be a manager. He could do anything if he wanted to, as far as creating, developing a baseball team. It was amazing spending time with him during the season and in the off season with his vast knowledge of the game. Because, I know he gets a bad rap because of all the whatever PD suspicion, and I always defend him because I tell people, well, if that's the case, let's go to Gold's Gym and get those guys that look like they're real big and juiced and pumped up. Let's give them a bat and see if they can hit 95. And as soon as I say that to people, they kind of back down because, they always want to associate Barry with a certain thing. Not that I'm trying to get into all that, but it's like, no, to hit that baseball, to have the thought of what the pitcher may do or may not do, he just was on another level.
It's funny you say that, isn't it? Because, if you talk to people around baseball who maybe even played at the same time frame, or the casual fan, I'm a long time Giant fan, as is Eric, and a lot of people in our chat. You hear the name Bonds, I think of one thing. I think the long ball. So you kind of opened my eyes and my ears to that. I got a question about another guy who can hit the long ball, apparently, and it's been a long time since we've had a guy who can do that at Oracle Park. We got to go back to Bonds, and that's Eldridge. And my question is, there seems to be serious debate we have to deal with on this channel. When do you bring him up? How do you know a guy's ready, even if he's producing at the minor league level? It's such a fine line these days. I mean, the last time I saw a guy, boom, come up was Griffey. And now, is it possible to leave guys in the minors too long and kind of coddle them? Can you bring them up too early? What is the decisive? Is there a decisive decision-making thing in the process to bring a guy up who's young?
I'm from the cloth of Brian Sabian. You have to force the organization's hand. Okay. If you're down there putting in work, doing damage, you make them. We got to bring him up. So if he's down there doing his thing, bring him up. Figure out a way to get him in the lineup. Whether it's, I know his defense has been in question. Whether it's DHing him or, I know Rafi Devers has been over there at first, and Dom Smith. If this guy's going to be the future, and if he's down here in Sacramento doing damage, and he's going to be your future, if he earns it, hey, we gotta give this kid a shot. And then when he gets up here, hey, 100, 200 at bats, play. I mean, September can be hit and miss because, you can't expand the rosters like you used to. But
right,
if it looks like he can hold his own for the final month, then maybe, going into spring training and going into the offseason, you say, you know what? This kid looks like he's ready to go. I always still think you should have insurance. I don't think you should just give someone the keys to the car. You should still have that veteran around.
Mhm.
But if he does his thing and he holds his own, then you say, hey, we're going to give him the keys to the car, but maybe we just don't punt on Dom Smith because, Dom hitter, he's experienced, and I know he can play outfield. He gives you a professional AB. And then, if Eldridge comes up spring training, ready to go, and it looks like he's comfortable, then you give him the keys to the car and say, hey, you're in there every day, and let him do his thing, get his 500 at bats, and go from there because they're going to need him. I mean, if he is the guy, I mean, they're going to need him. And if he's down there in sack, I don't know his numbers, doing his thing, then hey, give him. Why else are we draft? Why do you draft a guy if you're not going to ever give him a shot?
Hey, I got one more, and it has it's kind of the flip side of that coin. When you played, or you watching that level of ball, maybe the guy at AAA, do you ever play with or know a guy, and you looked at him, and the scouts looked at him, and go, this guy's the real deal, and just for one reason or other, maybe it's just he never got his shot. Do you know many guys who just they had it, never got to play?
Oh, a lot of guys.
Yeah.
That just because not only do you have to force your way to the major leagues, you got to be in the right place at the right time, and now I feel like with all the analytics and data, there are a lot of guys I played with that never got a shot that via the analytics, and probably in today's game, they would at least got a call up because of I think of my buddy Kenny Woods, who I played with in AAA with the Giants and with the Phillies, who basically was a super utility with bat to ball skills. I mean, he didn't have big power. He was a steady contact bat, but Kenny could play short, second, third, outfield, first. He played everywhere. I mean, in today's game, he would be valuable. I mean, Christian, Koss on the Giants.
Christian Koss, yeah.
Christian Koss. I mean, is he any better than Kenny in my mindset? I don't know. I don't think so because I knew Kenny could play the outfield and he could play all around the infield. And Koss just puts the ball in play, and then he has some sneaky ambush power. And then when the regulars need a day off, you can plug him in. I think the last few – I went to the game Sunday. He was playing third. I think yesterday or day before, he was playing short, and then he plays second. So when you need to give the regular a blow, there's your utility guy, or in the scouting world, we call it the infield five. When the regular needs a day off, that's the guy. And it's a glove first, not going to beat himself player that can play in spurts when the regulars are hurt or they just need a blow.
There you go. And then real quick, Mark's got a question, and I was going to ask one more question so I get you out of here. I know you don't want to stay too long. Jalal, did you play under Dusty? And if so, how was he as a manager?
I played under Dusty. I still talk to Dusty. I still see Dusty. Dusty is I was just texting his wife a few hours ago because he has been named the manager of Team Nicaragua, thanks to Martin Bernard, I'm sure, who I played with for the WBC. And they're down there now because Dusty lives up here in Sacramento. So, it's like I thought he was retired. And here he is managing Team Nicaragua. And I don't think he's from Nicaragua. At least he never told me that. but Dake is the best. He is just a walking legend. I think he told me the last time I saw him, and I think I've even read it, he has been involved either as a player or manager. It was something like a fifth of the games. Don't quote me in the history of the game. It was like some crazy statistic because he played for a long time and he managed for a long time. So to me, every time he speaks, when I'm with him, I just I'm just all ears.
All ears. Yep.
Nice.
What is Bake talking about? Because he always he always seems to amaze me because he teaches me stuff when we are around baseball. I've done a baseball camp with them in Curacao with Hensley Bam Bam Mullins, former Giants hitting coach, and he taught me something. I was like, "You never told me this," and I use it now when I train the kids. And then this year, right before spring training started, when his son Darren was home, he wanted Darren to hit off of some left-hand pitching, BP pitching, me being left-handed. So they came up to a facility where I was teaching the kids. And so they came when I was doing a lesson. And, Baker's a coach. He was a hitting coach. And so he noticed something on the kid. And he told the kid, hey, you need to do X, Y, Z. And I just let him take over the lesson. And so it's just, he is a Renaissance man. He's a marvelous man, a nice man. I can't say enough good about Dusty over the years. And no, he was an honor and a pleasure to play for, and just to know as a human being, because he's just a really genuine, just a really good, friendly, genuine person.
That's awesome. All right. I think, I had a question. I just totally lost it's gone. So let's go ahead and wrap it up, Joel. Hey, I appreciate you hanging out for a little while, talking some baseball. That's what we love to do here. And hey, you're welcome to come on here anytime you want to talk about baseball. Again, guys, make sure you go check out his YouTube, One Hit Wonder Podcast on YouTube. He puts out you put out a podcast about once every couple of weeks or so, something like that.
I need to pick it up, but yes, I know I had a dry spell in there, but I need to get more, because I need to get guests on there. And
that would be great.
I need to get more guests, because I know people probably get tired of just hearing me sitting here telling these stories, but I need to get more guests, because I know I'm close with Kevin Jordan, longtime big leaguer, and Damon Minor, the current assistant hitting coach for the Giants. But usually when I'm with them, we're fishing, so I know they want to fish and not talk so much about baseball,
not talk shop
on a podcast when we're trying to catch fish. But I can get them. And other guys, there's other guys I play with on other teams, and they're like, I want to come on your podcast. So I just need to learn the how to get them all involved and sit down and do it and just tell these stories, because we've seen a lot. And I mean, me being a journeyman and having to play in Mexico and Venezuela and Dominican Republic and Australia, in every minor league city in America and indie ball, I've seen so many different ball players.
You've been around. It reminds me of the Johnny Cash song, right?
Hey, Eric, can I ask one more question? And I don't know if it's out of line, and maybe, he won't have the answer because it's a different era, but something that came up on the show last night, Eric. And I was actually going to call the MLB office and ask, because nobody seemed to know the answer. And that is, when you got guys, even guys who are getting paid quite well at the major league level, but they're not producing. And really, I called it on my show this morning. They're playing for a job next year. There are a lot of guys right now in the Giants organization, I feel, are playing for a job next year. What is the rule, or what is the tone of conversation when it comes to sending a guy to play winter ball? Are you asked to? Is there a level of that player that he is eligible? Or could a guy like Posey go and say, I want you getting at bats after the season. I want you to go there. Do you know how that plays out?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question, because I'm kind of old school. And if I'm a player trying to break through, break in, and if the president of baseball ops or the organization ask me to go down to play a month or two in Dominica or Mexico, because they spin the ball more in Mexico, if I'm trying to break through, if you ask me, where do I got to go? When do I got to report? But I know in this day and age, a lot of guys want to work out, stay at home. They don't want to be uncomfortable. So so for me,
I thought when Buster Posey comes knocking on the door and says, "I'd like you to do it," you say, "Yes, Mr. Posey."
I mean, I would if he asked me.
Right.
I would. I mean, and this isn't the established player. These, I'm not to name names, but these are guys that are on the bubble for next year for a job. And maybe if they don't, I'm not saying you get rid of them, but maybe you're learning about the makeup. Maybe that's a guy you may not want on your team. But you got to be careful there. You just don't want to get rid of a guy because he doesn't think the same way you do, because tools always play, so if the guy's got loud tools and you get rid of him because he doesn't walk the same way you walk or talk the same way you talk, you might get stuck with a lot of not so good players. So sometimes you might go, I want you down there, but I can't get rid of you because you're not coming along on every corner. And here's an example player that I have history with, Jazz Chisholm.
Ooh.
I mean, Jazz beats to his own drum, from the hair to the hat to the jewelry. But you see the Yankees, they've adjusted just fine to him in his third stop. And I think, where he was I don't know factually where he was before, people might have been holding that against him because he's so eccentric. So you can't just get rid of Jazz because, he wants to have his hair green one day, yellow the next, and chain, and he does the Euro step on his home run trot. I mean, to me, as a scout, I had an old-time scout tell me, stick to the tools. And Jazz can do things on the ball field that a lot of guys cannot do. So before I get rid of him because he doesn't walk the same way I walk, or, I don't have hair, but his hair isn't a natural color, I am not going to be so quick to get rid of Jazz, or because he just doesn't, fit whatever my mold is. His tools are loud. Camilo Duvall tools were loud, even though sometimes I know he probably gave the perception of, he didn't care or he's low motor. Right. But the guy throws 100 friggin' miles an hour with a wicked cutter. So sometimes you got to look beyond that when evaluating, because you don't, as I always say, you don't want to have a team full of Johnny tryhards. We're going to be out of work quick.
Gotcha.
Oh, man, I want this guy to marry my daughter, but he can't play. So, he's great, but I need the big cars. I need the not that I want Dodgers, but I want the Otanis, the Mookies, the Freddies, the Machados, the Tots. Those guys at the end of the day are going to help you get to the playoffs and eventually win a World Series. And if that's not what you're chasing, why are we doing this?
Bingo.
Love it. Okay, I just remembered before. I don't want to keep you too long. Let's talk about Brian Sabean. A lot of us like to kind of go down memory lane and talk about the genius of Brian Sabean. Can you speak a little bit about him because I think did you work under him for a little bit?
Yes. He drafted me I've known Brian since I was 19. He drafted me out of Pepperdine when he was the scouting director for the Yankees. So, when I went to work for him as a scout, we were in spring training. I don't remember what year it was, but we were in Scottsdale. We're in the dugout before the game and just reminiscing. And I dropped that on him. I said, Sabes, I've known you. What was I, 50? I'm 56. So I was right around 50. I said, I've known you since I was 19 years old at Pepperdine. And he just looked at me. He's like, I don't want to hear that. I said, no, I've known you a lot. I said, I've known you from my teenage years to my playing career to my post-playing career. We just laughed just because, baseball, it's so cyclical the season, the off season, spring training. Life is moving, but we're doing pretty much the same thing over and over and over. And Sabes, to me, I love working for him. Him, Bobby Evans, Jeremy Shelley. I mean, when I was here from, 15 to 18, it was trying to win the World Series every year. So the chase, the pressure, the scouting was all awesome. And he's a scout. So he liked people who like to work. If you wanted to be the cookie cutter rock and roll scout working just a few days a week, that's not the man to work for. He worked you to the bone. And so for me, baseball is what I love and like. So to me, I could go to a game every day and not think anything of it because I don't golf. I guess I fish now. And, my kids were older, so it wasn't like I need to be home so much. So for me, he just really valued his scouts and volumes of reports. And when I came over to them from the Yankees after they had won those World Series, I quickly learned how they were finding the Marco Scuderos, the Hunter Pences, Cody Rosses. He had volumes of reports on all those players before he decided to squeeze the trigger on them. And it made his decisions a little, I don't know if it made it easier, but from a scouting standpoint, if you're talking about a player you're going to acquire and you go to look in your system and you only have one report on them or two, maybe those reports are right, but maybe they're wrong. But if you got 10 reports on them and you got 7 guys who like them, 3 guys that don't, now you have to whittle through all those to figure out who's right, who's wrong, or why do these guys like them? Why do these guys not like them? Or if you got 10 reports and everyone is all on board, that makes your job a lot easier. So, people might have said, oh, they're archaic in their ways, but I still say they won 3 championships in a short period of time. And that guy valued scouting, player development. It got back to he played to the ballpark, pitching, defense, timely hitting, championship.
Ah, man, I love it. I love it. Again, Jalal, hey, thanks for hanging out. Much appreciation, and we'll keep in touch. We'll have to do this again. The people are absolutely loving your stories and just your knowledge about the game. This is fantastic. Again, thanks, Jalal. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks for having me anytime.
All right, right on. Have a good evening,
nice
Jalal.
Glenn. All right, Eric.
Appreciate it.
See ya.
Thank you.
All right, there was Jalal.
We could do a whole show, Eric. Get him back on just the questions that were rolling in, and there were some quality questions over there in the chat forum.
Yeah, man, that was good. I love it. That is the type of conversations I love having. That was absolutely fantastic. Good
it is.
stuff.
You know what else I like about it, Eric? When we get a guest on who we can relate to. I mean, he's talking Giants baseball, taking us down memory lane. The guy was in the system, played for the Giants. I mean, this is what the audience wants to hear. So we appreciate that.
Absolutely. And he knows what he's talking about, right? That means something. The guy's been involved in a game for what, 30 years? So come on, man. That was just fantastic.
Well, that's saying good something stuff. Because, you and I.
Yeah, I know.
We haven't figured out this system yet, Eric. So I appreciate his answers, and it was a quality interview.
Absolutely. We'll definitely have him on again in the future. That was so great. Now, I guess we could.
Now you're going to bring us down, Eric. Now we got to go back to the 8-1 shellacking tonight.
Right.
He mentioned a name tonight. He was throwing out the names of a lot of those Dodgers players, and I think did I not hear him say the name Tatis? Did you see that grab that I said? Oh, that's it. We're going to lose tonight. After I saw that catch, he went over the wall and took one away from Devers tonight. Unbelievable. Now there's a ball player.
What are you going to do? Again, it kind of goes to what Jalal was saying, right? The guy has the tools, but he may not be cut from the same cloth that people might not appreciate so much, but the guy has it. right?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a
The guy
lot of
has-
players that we don't like, Eric, but I mean, put them in a Giants uniform, I'll learn to like them. I will learn to like him in a hurry.
Yep. Senior chiming in. I have a feeling Jalal is going to help us get through a very long off season. Great guess. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And what we could do is maybe we could make it a focused, like a specific player or a specific time period, whatever it may be. Maybe talk about the experiences in the minor leagues and playing overseas, what it must be like to play winter ball overseas. I'm sure that's got to be interesting.
Great topics too. And I mean, you could have him in. Remember the day we had Matt Stairs on?
Yeah.
And
was
I mean,
great.
Matt was cut from similar cloth where, I mean, he played at the major league level for a long time, but he says, I travel with a suitcase. I played, what did he play with? Was it 16 teams in Major League Baseball? Half of Major League Baseball, but he produced everywhere. You know, I had this thought a while ago, and as we continue to get tremendous guests who are well-spoken and know the history of the game and the background that they bring to the table on this show, I'd like to have a round table someday. Where you get him and you get Matt and you get a whole bunch of them and just you ask one question, Eric. We'll sit back and let them go.
Exactly. I'll just facilitate. That's all. I'll facilitate and just go. Just go. That would be absolutely fantastic.
If he likes to go fishing, I'll have to take him up to Keith's fishing lot up in Nunavut, where who was up there? Brett Favre, Boomer Esiason. 45-pound trout up there. I think he'd like it up there.
What's that? That's up there in God's country, right? That's up there in God's country.
Is, you have to fly. I think you have to fly about 4 hours north in Canada, up from Winnipeg to Churchill, then to Rankin Inlet. Then you got to take the helicopter or the float plane another like 2.5 hours. You get lost there. They ain't finding you.
I was just going to say.
But the fishing's good.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway,
and we talked about that. The home run that Stairs had against the Dodgers. I think it's 2009.
Funny. When he was telling the stories there, I thought of Matt Stairs in his story. Do you remember Matt Stairs? You asking, do you remember that epic home run? He's like, no, I don't remember that it was 2-2. And then he just thrown a slider. He broke down the whole play.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
And the cool thing was, we went about an hour and a half with him, and I was ready to wrap it.
It was almost 2 hours.
Are you kicking me out? Yeah. Do I got to go home? Anyway, great. I love having guests on. Hopefully you guys do as well. And they had kind words for him over there in the chat tonight. So that's awesome.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. A little bit different as compared to, talking Giants baseball. But let's get into it. We'll do a little bit of that and then see what you guys have to say. Let's do this.
And now, today's Giants in Review on Giants Sports Talk Live.
It was an ugly one, guys. Padres 8, Giants 1. Giants 1 run on 4 hits. San Diego 8 runs on 10 hits. The winning pitcher is J.P. Sears. Again, another lefty that the Giants couldn't do anything with. They didn't strike out a lot. We'll get into that here shortly. And then Roop. By the way, is there any news on Roop? I haven't seen any. Does anyone have any update on what is being reported on Landon Roop? He took a ball off the leg, but it was his other knee that looked like it buckled up.
Yeah, the jolt of it.
I hope. I mean, the good thing is he got up and walked to the cart. He wasn't laying prone. So hopefully it's nothing too serious, man. That's tough to see, man. You don't want to see that. Where a kid, he just came back.
Interview, Eric, did you hear? I was paying close attention. Mr. Leach mentioned I was a lefty. I was going to ask him, what is it about this Giant team? They cannot hit lefties. And it's not just one day or 1 week. It's been the entire season. And again, Eric, it was a tough outing there again tonight against a lefty. And although we cut down on our strikeout rate, we just couldn't get much going in the hit department, could we?
No, we couldn't. Real quick, a sprained knee, going for an MRI tomorrow. Speaking of which, we have another Giants. The guy we traded for, young Blade Tidwell, felt something in his shoulder. Going in for an MRI. So the young kid that we thought would be coming up soon isn't coming up anytime soon. He's getting an MRI. Hopefully everything is okay with his shoulder. Jeez. You don't want to hear pitchers and shoulder issues.
Well, we'll have an update on both those players tomorrow. I'm sure Robbie Dizzle will keep us up to date.
All right, there's not much to the lineup. Ramos had a hit. Devers was 0-4, but he did have one stolen from him. Adames no hits. Flores, no hits. Schmidt had 1 hit, which was the only run for the Giants, a big fly to left field. Jung-Hoo Lee had a hit and 2 strikeouts. Koss had a hit and 2 strikeouts. Fitzgerald 0-4. Bailey 0-4. 0-for-3 with runners in scoring position. Again, not very many opportunities, but they walked 3 and they struck out 6. So it's not like they were out there striking out all over the place. They just the ball couldn't find grass. And when the ball can't find grass and it finds gloves, guess what? You wind up with 4 hits and 1 run. By the way, I'm waiting to hear. There's got to be some Bob Melvin slander out there. I'm sure there will be, just because they lost. I'm sure that there's going to be an issue with Bob Melvin. Somehow, some way, it always props up. We'll see. Sometimes deservedly, sometimes not. Roop again goes 2 1/3, cut short because of that aforementioned injury. He did give up 5 hits and 5. Well, the 5 earned were the 2 that he had on base when he came out.
Forced to go to the pen and bring in your buddy Joey.
Oh, yeah, Joey Lucchese. Oh, that was tough. Gave up a hit, but that hit wound up being a big fly, man. What that one was a crusher. Beck
You know
comes
how
in.
excited we were about the bullpen and the pitching in general. Look at those ERAs starting to move.
Yeah, they're starting to climb up. Beck didn't even start off with the Giants, right? He didn't. And he had to come up because of injury. Buto was part of a trade. And Buto's been okay. He's been okay. But he gave up a hit in a run today. So
Just don't like the numbers. 4.95 ERAs, and you know what kind of numbers that Kai-Wei Tang has in that department.
And Buto, when he showed up with the Giants, I think he had like a 3.4. So Buto's been doing okay. Beck hasn't been doing so much. And look, and this is something we could talk about now. With now Landon Roop going on, looks like he might be going on the shelf.
Not again. Got him back, Eric.
I know who's going to be the. So Kai-Wei Tang is staying. I'm guessing. Are we going to see Hayden Birdsong make another reappearance? They're going to have to. We're running out of pitchers.
Hey, we got Koss out there. You know he's throwing a few innings, Eric.
No,
he's got
right. I mean, they're going to.
Just man, it started. You know, how often do I talk about it? It's usually in the offseason. I go, you're always just 1 or 2 injuries away from a lot of trouble.
Absolutely.
And I said it was the pitching staff. Nobody really got on board with that, but now we're seeing that come to fruition, Eric.
Yes. No. And that's a fact. You cannot go through a season without going through quite a few starting pitchers. Look what's going on with Philadelphia. They lost their ace, Zach Wheeler, because of a blood clot. He had to have surgery. I don't know what his time frame is coming back. It can't be anytime soon.
You know what? Next time we get guys, the old veterans on, like Jalal or Matt will be on the show coming up real soon once again, who is an 18-year veteran of the majors. I got to start poking their brain at why, dude, we never saw injuries, the levels that we're seeing now. And I mean, geez, when pitchers are dropping like flies and you're losing them for a year. Look at what happened to the Detroit Tigers, Eric, in the preseason. They lost the whole starting.
Oh no, it was the White Sox.
Well, the White Sox. Pardon me to all those fans out there. It was the White Sox, but to lose them all, and you were trying to fill a couple of gaps. They had no pitchers.
I know, none.
Dude, it's a weird, strange game, and this Tommy John stuff, man. It's maybe to a point, it's just guys are out there throwing rather than pitching.
I'd much rather have a Greg Maddux, a guy who's gonna pinpoint and not just try to blow you away with everything. Because then, well, guess what? You're kind of doing your disservice to not only yourself but the team. Because if you're going out there going max effort every time, the chances of injuries, right? Because the best ability is availability, right? You got to be out there.
Beautiful.
And if you're not out there, then guess what? You got to go to someone else. And
speaking of pitching, Eric, tomorrow afternoon, it should be a nice day for a ball game. 79 degrees at scheduled opening pitch, 110 again at Petco. The Giants 61 and 66 up against San Diego. There are already 10 games in the win column. Had 71 wins this year, and as I like to say it, your old pal gets the nod tomorrow, bringing in his 1-9, polishing off that 1-9 record tonight. Eric, he's all excited. Your pal Justin Verlander on the hill tomorrow against Dylan Cease.
Oh, Dylan Cease is going. All right, here we go.
He's 5-11, but remember last night everybody was talking about Sears.
He's a righty.
Dude, it doesn't matter.
He's a righty.
We have a gift of making other pitchers look like Steve Carlton, for God's sake.
And I got a feeling that the club is seeing this, right? There's gonna be moves. What are they? Well, we'll find out.
Well,
Stay tuned to Giant Sports Talk Live.
Can't make many moves.
Stay tuned to Giant Sports Talk Live, where you will get all the hype that you'll get more hype for players than you'll see anywhere else. Videos will be made. You already know what I'm going to do, right? You already know what I'm going to do with the Mr. Kyle Tucker. I have to do it.
I feel it coming already.
I have to do
It's
it.
almost that time of the season.
I'm realistic. Look, I understand. I get it. But I can't help it. I can't help it, man. There's going to be a Kyle Tucker video. No, there's no doubt about it. We're going to have to, hey, Glenn, get out to the hangar, take the tarp off the helicopter. We're going to have to bring that baby back out on this offseason.
You know how much I enjoyed that last year, right, Eric? We were firing up the helicopter every now and you wanted them to just take him for a spin around. Say, this is what did you call it? This is your city or your kingdom?
Your kingdom.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna have to get a little bit special on this one. I'm not.
Really?
No, it's not. Hey, Spitzer, it's not wasting my time. It's having fun. Gotta have fun, right? If you're not having fun, then what's the point of doing all this? Gotta have fun. As fans here.
I'll tell you what, Eric. Oh, I don't know how I even do this. I got something going on in the back. How do I turn this off?
I hear something weird.
Sorry.
You're staticky.
We're getting the helicopter warmed up for you, Eric.
Oh, there you go. Got the hand crank going.
There it is.
I can't hear
the
it.
prop's going. There we go. Now we just got to get somebody ready to get it into that helicopter. You're gonna pilot it.
You know how you? Hey, well, you know how you get them into the helicopter? Well, it's gonna.
Now I got to figure. Yeah, I love playing around with the sound effects. I don't know how to turn it off, Eric.
I could bet. Yeah, you're a little bit muffled.
There, we crashed. We crashed.
I'll tell you what. The price of admission to get into said helicopter is going to cost about 500 big ones, if you know what I mean.
Well, let's go spend it. We spent it on. Hey,
it's not our money.
You know how much I hate the drama, and I've had to suffer enough having watched so much WNBA this year, Eric. But what the heck was going on between Bob Melvin and Willie Adames tonight?
I saw that. I don't know, man. I don't want to take it out of context, right? We don't know.
It looked like they were having words.
There was words. Now, what's unique is, it's a little uncharacteristic of Willie Adames as far as he's always happy-go-lucky, always smiling, right? So
yes, that's why of all players on that roster, Eric, it seemed a little what was said, what was done.
Who has that? Is there anyone else that has that?
Or maybe that comes with losing a 12, 13 game lead, Eric, or being above 500. And now we're 5 games, I think, below 500. I think maybe there might be a little bit of frustration in that locker room. There's got to be frustration, Eric.
Yes.
You know how fun. You've seen it on the other side of the flip side of that coin. Willie Adames, when they're winning, boy, there's nobody happier in baseball. But he did not look happy tonight.
Yeah, he did not look happy. I don't know what it is. Honestly, I don't want to make any insinuations, but it didn't look happy.
No.
How about that?
No. All right, so that's the matchup tomorrow. Justin Verlander, Dylan Cease, couple of righties go. And a reminder, it's a 1:10 game tomorrow afternoon. So, Eric, I'll try to be on with you tomorrow night when I'm going to be on the road.
That's right.
I'm sorry, I have to head to Las Vegas. I was told
I
must go to Las Vegas.
You must go. Yeah, twisting your arm, right?
Taking one for the team, Eric. Taking one for the team.
Oh, hey, by the way, before you get out of here, check this out. Remember I showed
thanks again. In case I forget, we're at the end of the show. Just thanks again for Jalal coming on the show. Jalal Leach was our guest. Took time out of a busy schedule, I am sure. And, hey, we love having the guests, especially when they bring quality.
Exactly. Remember a couple of days ago, I showed how the Thunderbirds were flying over
I revisited that. I revisited it, and you know that video that you showed of the Cubs game that has popped up. Other people have posted that.
Yeah, it's all over the place.
And a bomb went off at the stadium, and I'm like, "What the hell is that video? It's the same one."
This is part of that same air show. You could see the skyline of Chicago in the back.
Yeah, beautiful.
This is great. By the way, the title says "Wait for it," and you'll see what they're talking about.
I just missed the air show. I just get back, Eric.
Yeah, you just had gotten back. All right, take a listen.
Careful. Okay. The guy fell. The guy fell off.
The guy fell. One more. He's holding his stomach. Either he's holding his stomach or
he thought he got shot.
Oh,
dude, you can't blink. You missed it.
What is Chicago? Here, listen.
It looked like he got shot. Not that that's funny, but
that's good stuff.
Eric, I've had enough shenanigans for today.
Yeah, let's get out of here. Guys, hey, thanks for hanging out. Again, if you guys missed it, replay this. We'll cut some shorts out of this, make a little bit of videos out of this, and we'll put it back up. But Jalal Leach was absolutely fantastic, guys. You won't want to miss it if you're joining late. So go take
a game at 1:10 tomorrow, Eric. I want to remind the guys, and I'll be traveling. We won't have the Giants morning show. Here, we just launched it, and now I'm taking the day off. But we will have your preview show tomorrow afternoon. Gets underway at 12 noon Pacific.
There you go. Right on. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you guys tomorrow night. Can the Giants get a split?
Can Verlander actually win a game?
Can the Giants score runs? We'll find out. Tune in tomorrow night.
Can I stay out of trouble in Vegas?
And there you go. And we'll talk about it all over again, guys. All right.
All right. See when I get back. If not sooner, Eric, I'll try to get back on the show in the next day or two.
Sounds good. Woo!
Guys.
You've been watching Giant Sports Talk Live with Eric and Glenn, a Northern Lights Entertainment Broadcasting production.